Welcome to using civil cells in Open Roads Designer. In this first exercise, we will place a T-intersection civil cell and then review the civil cell. The skills taught in this lesson include reviewing the available civil cells by way of the Pick Civil Cell dialog, selecting a civil cell and placing it with varying planimetric configurations, reviewing a civil cell's 3D model, reviewing the model by way of the Project Explorer, editing the civil cell components, and finally, using alternatives when placing a civil cell. After you open the file, you'll notice that there are several geometry elements that have been placed with different orientations. We will use these alignments in this file to place a civil cell within the varying design configurations. So the first thing we're going to do is, using the Open Roads Modeling workspace, we're going to select Model Detailing, and we're going to pick Civil Cells, and then we're going to pick Place Civil Cell. And when you pick Place Civil Cell in the Tool Settings window, you'll either see the civil cell name of the last civil cell that you placed, or it might be blank. So I'm going to click the Browse button to open the civil cell browser, and this will open the Pick Civil Cell dialog. And in the Pick Civil Cell dialog, I can see the DGN libraries that are accessed through my workspace. And within each DGN library, I can have several or one or many civil cells. And to preview a civil cell, you just select it, and it's going to show up in the preview pane. So in this example workspace, I've got several civil cells. Some are roundabouts, some are median openings. I have entrances, and I also have T-intersections. The one that we're going to place first is called Basic T, Urban. And when you select a civil cell, you'll see that some of the elements that are shown in the preview are red, and other elements are black. The red elements refer to the baselines that must be present within the design file to place the civil cell. These are also referred to as placement references or reference elements. The black elements that you see in the preview represent the planimetric layout of the civil cell. Once you pick the civil cell, then you just pick OK. And then, depending on the number of reference elements, you will get a prompt to specify which element you want to select. So in this example, it says locate reference element secondary road CL. So I'm going to pick the red line because that represents the center line of my secondary road. And then the next prompt asks me to locate reference element through road edge of pavement. And in this example, it's going to be the cyan colored line. So I'm going to select that element. And then what will happen is you'll see a shape appear, or several elements, a preview, if you will, of the civil cell that you're about to place. At the next prompt, it's going to say, select the elements to view alternatives. And we will take a look at how to select elements to view alternatives in a later part of this exercise. So for now, I'm just going to reset to skip. And then the next prompt says, select corridors to be clipped, reset to complete. And if we were placing this civil cell on a corridor, then we might want to clip that corridor. In this example, however, we're not clipping a corridor, so I'm just going to right mouse click or reset to complete. And then finally, I'm going to left click to accept the civil cell placement. And now you see the civil cell is placed. Now remember that a civil cell is comprised of one or many civil objects. The civil objects can be as simple as 2D geometry elements, or the civil cell can be as complex as several corridors and linear templates. So this civil cell, even after we place it, can be modified and edited, which we'll do in a later part of this exercise. The other thing that is important to remember is that the civil cell is a child of the placement references, or the reference elements. So if the reference elements are modified, then the civil cell will move as well. For example, if I decided to select this red element, remember that I selected that element when placing the civil cell. So in essence, this civil cell is ruled to these elements. And what that means is if I were to move this element, you can see that the civil cell will move as well.